Hello there. A couple of weeks ago I uploaded a video of Warm Snow gameplay, and Warm Snow, I really like the game. It's a Chinese game, and maybe you'll like it too, because if you're into roguelikes or roguelites, and especially if you like a game like Hades, you may enjoy this a lot. So what is the gameplay like? This is your character. You move in with the left stick. If you press X, you get your basic attack. And if you press A, you dodge. So that's pretty basic. And the game starts you off with that to get you, get you into gameplay. So let's fight with that. There we go. And then there are these swords, these katanas. I guess they're katanas. You can pick them up. And there you go, these archers are shooting at me. You can shoot these katanas with the right shoulder button. So let's do that. And what you just saw is I kind of pulled those swords to me so I can shoot them. And there's a countdown on that ability, which is in the upper left corner. Right now it's available again. When that is on cooldown, I can pull all the swords that I threw back to me. Let me show you what that looks like. So I'm shooting swords, and now you see them spread around, and I could either run around and pick them up, or I press that button. It's the right trigger, and I can withdraw them. And the cool thing about that is, if I'm standing right next to an enemy or a group of enemies and withdraw these swords and they fly back to me, they take a bunch of damage, so you can actually use that as a combat move. I just picked up an upgrade. It's a big bone, and I can use it either as a core, power, agility, or skill, and it has different effects. For example, here is if I put it into the core slot, it's an active skill, pound the ground with tremendous force, dealing 30 melee damage and stun surrounding enemies for 2 seconds. So if I use that, it becomes a skill I can trigger. If I use it as a power, it becomes the final blow in a melee attack. Trigger a shockwave that deals 5 melee damage and stuns the surrounding enemies. I can use it upon dash, so whenever I dash, I trigger a shockwave that deals 2 melee damage and stuns for 0.5 seconds. Or I can use it as a skill. Whenever I get attacked, I have a small chance to stun the enemy. So let me see. I think I want to use that one as a power. So when I deal melee damage, the final blow in an attack, like if I do a little combo, it stuns the surrounding enemies. There we go. I kept pressing the X button, doing an attack, and the final blow did an AoE attack, stunning the enemies. Let's draw the swords to me while I'm standing next to an enemy. Like that. See, there's an elite enemy. Let's shoot the swords. There we go. That wasn't lag that you just saw. It just means that I killed all the enemies that are around. So I'm ready to move on. This was like kind of the tutorial. So let's move into the open world. And I can pick one of two spells. I can either pick Flurry. Shooting a flying sword boosts the damage of your next melee attack. When your melee attack hits, your sword recall cooldown is reduced by 1 second, which is pretty cool. So I can shoot a sword, and then my normal melee attack gets boosted, and when that hits, the cooldown of the recall is shortened. Or instead of shooting flying words on command, you now shoot a powerful flying sword to the front when you make a melee attack. Increases your defense by 10%. Both of these are pretty cool. I'm gonna take this one for now. So I can't shoot the swords anymore, but they get shot automatically when I do melee attacks. And I of course can also recall them back to me. So let's see how it goes. And do the prologues. There, I shot one of those swords while I was doing melee attacks. Again. Okay, now this is a little bit like Slay the Spire, or a game like that. I can now pick either one of these two paths, and it doesn't really make a difference concerning content, but there are also choices where you can either go for a path that leads to loot or one that leads to healing. So depending on what you pick, you get a different reward at the end. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty powerful. Stunning enemies and also shooting a sword while I do melee attacks. Same choice again. That's a little elite enemy. There we go. Now we've got a cooldown of 10 seconds until I can use the recall again. But that should be fine. There we go. This is like first level, so this is pretty easy. I could either go for some loot or healing. Since I'm at full health, I'm just gonna go for this one. And there's another elite enemy. At the beginning it's really simple. Gets tougher, especially when you get to bosses. Or when you get to the second level, that piggy town. Okay, so we get to choose a new skill. Warrior Bone. Upon killing enemy, damage is increased by 4%, can stack up to 12 times. When attacked, lose 1 layer of the effect. So I guess when I get hit, I lose one layer. Which is pretty cool because 4% times 12, so I get 48% damage boost when I kill enemies. Should work especially well in the with trash mobs. Usually with the bosses, I mean, you can't really build that up. When you cause damage to an enemy whose health percentage is higher than yours, additional damage will be caused. The damage depends on the ratio of the difference between the target and your health. This may be good for a boss fight. And Rampage, you deal more damage against targets under 50%. Damage increases as HP decreases. This is another cool skill, especially for boss fights, because the trash mobs you kill way too fast to go for something like that. And I think here's the first boss. Oh, it's a wolf. Bosses are random. There is a certain pool, I guess, of like 2 or 3 different bosses. And it's like it depends what boss you get. This is one of the puzzle bosses you can get. Oops, and I'm messing up pretty bad. So let's heal a little bit. He's gonna storm at me again. Oh, actually, here are some trash mobs, so I could have built up that other buff. Not doing too well. Gonna call this wolves again. Or it's gonna storm at me again. Do I have one more heal? I don't. I do. Cool. Shows that I haven't played that game in a couple of days, but there goes the boss. I killed him, almost totally killed him with the recall, and apparently the buff, which lets me do more damage to lower the health is, that triggered. I'm sorry for the pretty sucky performance there. Haven't played the game in like 2-3 weeks or something. I'll try to do better. So we can pick up this weapon. You know, on the left you see our current sword. This one, melee damage plus 8%, movement speed plus 6%, and the weapon effect. Follow through deals 30% more damage and has a chance to trigger Blade Storm is increased by 10%. So let's take that because it surely is better than our current sword. That's another item we can use in one of 4 different ways. Either as an active skill, oops. Summon 3 wildflowers to help you attack nearby enemies. Pretty cool. When knocked down, restores 3% of your maximum health per second. Which can be helpful if something knocks you down like a boss, but you know, you don't want to stay on the floor for too long. Each time you are healed, 4 Breath of Life is cast around you, dealing 5 damage to nearby random enemies. Yeah, I wonder. I think I'm gonna go for this one so I can show you an active skill. An active skill. Hold on. Let's pick a new skill first. Second skill. Defensive blades increase your defense dealt by 2.5% for each sword carried. Pretty cool. Cold block can be triggered with flying sword now. Or during a melee attack, chance to shoot all swords to the front and cause weakness in any enemies they damage. Resets sword recall. So that's pretty cool. I have a chance that I shoot all swords and the cooldown is reduced. Okay, so this lady is taking us to the next level. Let's leave. I wanted to show you the active skill. And I picked that one. You can see the ability below my health bar. It's that yellow bar. And I can trigger it with the left trigger. And so I'm going to try to show you. Next up, Swine Town. Some of these piggies are really evil. So we did the tutorial and I sucked at the boss, sorry. And now we're in chapter 1 and we got a health restored. Still have the abilities we picked, so I just triggered my skill. With the left trigger you can see the cooldown now is going. And I summoned those wines and they will attack enemies. So let's go back. And we have to build up that yellow bar again, which we do by attacking enemies. So this is not a countdown. It's you build it up with your melee attacks, while the recall is actually on a timer. So we got some groups going there, and we've got these pigs which charge at me. There we go. Want to avoid that. And we can actually use our vines, but I want to wait for some more enemies to be around before I do. And now we can go for either a skill or some loot. So let's go for a skill. I like the fact that when you've got like a house in front, the enemies are lit up, so you can still see them, even though you're behind the house. So let me trigger the wines once more, once we can see better. There we go. Oh, cool. I've never tried that skill. They actually shoot at the enemies, which is pretty nice. And they do some damage. There's a ton of different skills and sect skills that you can use. So I haven't seen all of them yet. There we go. Finish that one. There's a new skill here. Escalation. About dealing damage, increase all damage to target by 3.5% for 1 second. Effect stacks up to 10 times. Every enemy within melee range increases all damage to deal by 7%. Another good one for trash mobs and groups of enemies. And when you're at 100% HP, all attack plus 60%. So let's take this one then. Let's try that. I don't think I ever had that one. So let's wait for some enemies. Here's another charging pig. Another one. It's gonna charge at me. Gonna stun it and kill it. I skipped that one, cool. And again I killed it by recalling my swords. Wolves are gonna charge at me. They actually hit me. But I'm gonna live. And now we could try to get a different weapon. So let's do that. Well, since I picked that skill at the end of the tutorial, I can shoot my swords at will. It happens automatically, so I can't really show you how to use them in combat. It's a nice combat mechanic to be able to shoot them at range whenever you like. But, you know, with this setting where I have more defense and I shoot them automatically on my melee attacks, that's a pretty good one as well. So here's a new sword, melee damage plus 6%, and movement speed plus 3 whenever you trigger Cold Blood, which is filling up the yellow bar. Sword recall cooldown is reduced by 1 second. Even though I don't have Blade Storm, I think I want to stick to this weapon because it feels like this weapon is weaker. We can trade it in for currency. You see the currency up in the upper right. I can buy something for that later. Right now that is. There's this huge lady. And she's selling upgrades. For example, I can get a healing potion. So let's try that. I also can get an epic casket. Receive 1 random relic with the rarity of no less than epic. So let's buy that. We've got plenty of money. Or we can get a mutant limb relic. Let's go for the expensive one. Mechanical rotor. I could replace some of the skills I already set, but let's see what the other two do. Upon dash, randomly shoot 3 missiles at nearby enemies, with each dealing 3 damage. Your movement speed is also increased by 25% for 1 second. Or upon every 5 melee attacks, shoot 10 missiles in the direction of the attack, with each missile dealing 7 damage. Both are pretty cool, so let's go for this one, because there's a boss fight coming up. Don't know how well I'll do, because I sucked on the last boss fight. Don't know what's wrong with me. Oh, it's the huge pig. He hit me. Well, let's get the flowers out. Oops, hit me there. Okay. I forgot. I only fought this one like twice before, so yeah. Forgot that it can charge 3 times. So here's a new sword, and this one has epic quality. All damage plus 5%, enemy with bleed takes 12 damage. Plus 12 damage, enemy with stun takes plus 22% damage. And you can see it mentions bleed and stuff. You can, like if you make a build with the items you get that makes enemies bleed, you know, that would have been an even better upgrade. Let me see. We've got defense plus 7%, enemies take 10% more damage for each flying sword stuck in its body. Great for boss fights. And if you take no damage for 15 seconds and you take 25% less damage next time. For the simple one. And since I've got good skills at all of them, this one isn't perfect. All damage to burning enemies is increased by 60%, but still, I'm gonna pick it. And we can move on. So cool. So that was some gameplay of Warm Snow. Check it out. I think it's 15 bucks on Steam, which I find a very fair price. It's a ton of fun. I like the combat actually a bit more than I like Hades, even though the graphic style is, you know, not as cool as Hades. Maybe depends on your on what you like though. I enjoyed a lot, so check it out. I think there's a demo on Steam as well. So thanks for watching, and I hope you liked it. Bye bye.